Devan, a real Kiwi rural structure for 30 years. Owned by Kiwis, run by Kiwis, made by Kiwis, for Kiwis. There's no other tank I'll have around here.
One of the most important things in the rural landscape is water. How we contain it, how we store it, how we use it, how we conserve it. And right from the early settlers, when they came out and they used their old containers that they'd pack their belongings in as a water tank, we have evolved over the years to good ways of storing water and easy ways of being able to get our storage device into the landscape. We're at Devan Tanks, or Devan Plastics in Tauranga today, and we're going to follow how a plastic tank is made to go through and become part of your rural landscape. But also remember, there's a place in town for storing of water. It amazes me that local authorities don't encourage more people to store water, or even they themselves. How many municipal buildings have this massive roof area catching water, but there's not a skerrick of storage done, and yet top drinking water is used to water cricket pitches. Think about it. We're going to go and find out a bit more about the great factory that is Devan Plastics. Come with me. Hello there, Jamie. How is it going there?
Mate.
Yes. Let's have a look. The sign up here says Devan. Now, it's a different spelling of most of the Devons. You know, people from Taranaki think of Devon Street with an O on it and all the rest of it. How come it's spelt that way?
Well, 30 odd years ago, the company was formed by a gentleman called David Evans. And so it came to be. And we predominantly brand the company as everything Devan these days, although the trading name is Devan Plastics Limited.
Now, tell me a little bit about the company, how it's set up, where is it owned, and so on.
All right, we're privately owned and operated by a New Zealand gentleman, Jim Barlow. Head office is here in Tauranga, where we are today. This is our main factory and head office. We have another factory in Christchurch in Hornby that services the South Island.
Now, something of a rarity in some of the plastics areas, isn't it, to actually have plastic New Zealand owned?
Yeah, I suppose it is, and there's a few of us hanging on. Obviously, we're in a space where it's difficult to transport large barrels of air across the sea, so there's some barriers to entry for our offshore cousins. They do get involved in the smaller tank product, but in our core business, which is the large volume tanks, we're certainly not under any threat there.
Now, plastics, people throw up their hands in horror, think, oh, this is a great big toxic industry and so on. But the plastic tank for water has become almost a standard now, hasn't it?
Well, it has. I mean, everyone is synonymous with the historical kind of concrete water tank that everyone had, and they were difficult to transport, so they were all made locally to where they were installed. Predominantly they would end up cracking and weeping over time. So when David Evans and one of his suppliers partnered together 20, 30 years ago to pioneer the large plastic water tank, they changed the face of how we store water, and all of a sudden you could ship tanks nationwide. They last forever. We don't know how long they last yet, because we've never had to replace one because it's died of old age. So they're not ending up in landfill. They're fully recyclable where something does go wrong. So I'm very proud to say we're not the manufacturer of acres of stuff that goes into landfill. I mean, Devan is very conscious of the fact that we do use a petrochemical-based product, so we're extremely responsible in the way that we operate our plants and our equipment and everything around that. We certainly have a very ingrained recycling program, and you'll see we've won a couple of awards through the Sustainability Council for initiatives around our recycling and how we operate on site as a manufacturer.
That is a lovely pat on the back to have, isn't it? You know,
it certainly is, absolutely.
Yeah. And now, in my intro, I said water and the storage of water is probably one of the most critical things facing almost people on Earth. Do you agree?
I think this is absolutely number one. Access to good water, and I mean, if you look at it on a sustaining life point of view, it's critical. But then when you look at New Zealand in its horticultural and agricultural basis, it becomes absolutely imperative. And there's lots of fantastic research around how much milk solids a cow produces on clean water versus unclean water and that sort of stuff. So water supply is very, very important.
And what about the likes of local authorities, people that build big roof areas, catchments and everything? Is there enough thinking being done into capturing that water and storing it and passing it on?
There certainly is. We get a lot of inquiry about, especially sort of from that urban space. It is quite complex, and so people do kind of get bogged down in detail a bit about it, but we're working very hard to try and bridge that gap. Unfortunately, councils aren't quite as supportive. They're very keen to talk about it, but it's quite difficult for them to sort of wade in, and they get a lot of pressure on when they put up water rates and that sort of stuff, so we can't expect them to be the evil cousin to drive people in that direction.
No. But Jamie, you've got your front office with the marketing and lots of brochures and everything, but here we see a bit more gruntier approach to the desk. Computers, spanners, crimpers, air connectors, all combined. What's happening here?
Well, I know it looks a bit disorganised, but I can assure you that Rua's the king of everything operational around here. So him and his assistant Mike run the factory. This is where all the hard graft's done, all the production planning, scheduling, problem solving, truck maintenance, all of that sort of stuff's run out of here.
Yeah. So we count on you as tahi, and then we come to Rua, do we?
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, the design and everything, is this part of the job here?
We undertake a bit of that back in the main office there, plus we use a lot of outside contractors. It's a very technical space, and you're holding 30 tonnes of water upright in a vessel. You don't want that to fail and shooting down someone's back hallway.
And that's an amazing thing. It's very easy to say 30,000 litres, but as soon as you put a weight onto it, it becomes a lot more impressive what you're putting into a tank.
And where we see tanks fail, other people's tanks fail, you see them destroying sheds and garages and all sorts of stuff. It's a lot of water. So we engage very high-end engineers to help us with any of that sort of stuff.
Brilliant. Oh well, onwards and outwards.
Absolutely.